Good morning, Zach.
Good morning, J Mac. How are you, buddy?
Good. This is episode number two of the
Woohoo!
ggCircuit How to Run a LAN Center Twitch cast. Zach is all the way in Terre Haute, Indiana. Hello, neighbor.
Hello.
I'm
J
in
Mac holding it down in Indianapolis.
I'm in Indianapolis. All right, so let's get started. Without further ado, this week, a busy week in ggCircuit land and LAN Center land. So let's start with the first topic is, of course, the LAN Center question of the week. If you want to go ahead and get started with that one, I'll hand it over to you, my friend.
All right. Now, the interesting thing is that just a week ago when we started doing these, I didn't realize how many different land centers, potential land centers, contact me for advice, and so I started going back through a lot of my emails and compiling some of those questions and things. And just this past week, I've been talking with four different ones, and this question that we're going to cover this week came up with all four of them. But how much space do I need, and what's a good layout for my store? There's a couple asterisks in this, so it's not a general um, floor plan or idea that you can follow in every situation. But there's a couple problems that I see a lot of land centers make right off the bat when picking out their space and how to lay it out. We always recommend for eBash stores, ours are 4,000 square feet or larger. I would think the minimum square feet you would want in a space is about 2,000 square feet. Now, that being said, a lot of that is surrounded by my idea of the fact that you've got to have enough space for enough players on Friday and Saturday to be in your LAN center so that you can generate the most amount of revenue on your busiest nights. Just like it is for the movie theaters, just like it is for bars and clubs and everybody else. Those kind of things all happen on the weekends. You got to have enough space to fit them all in. So minimum 2,000 square feet. There's really not a top end, but you got to keep in mind that once you get above, our Indianapolis store is 7,000 square feet, and then you get up to 10,000 square feet or more. Not only is that going to add a pretty high, sizable lease cost or payment on a building if you've got a mortgage, but it's going to cause you to try to figure out how to fill it all the way up and make it look full. So again, you want it to look fun, you want it to look full, but you've also got to have enough space for everybody to come in. So one thing that I see a lot of people doing is they go into this assuming that people need to have an experience different than they have at home, which is true in certain stances, but it's a little bit opposite of what you might think when you're starting a LAN center. So I see a lot of centers. There was one in the East Coast. I won't say who it is, but I noticed that they set up a LAN center with giant 60-inch TVs in separate rooms with big couches and like lounging areas. And their idea is that people needed a place to go and hang out with their buddies in a room, one room by themselves with a giant screen. And it's just not the case for what gamers are going out and what they want. So you don't really need a lot of big TVs and a lot of space for players to play on gigantic screens and that sort of thing. Again, a lot of guys know somebody or they have big TVs at home now. What you want to give them is what they don't have, which is the ability to line up 4 or 8 or 10 or 15 players in a close area so that you can give the guy a punch in the arm when he sucks on your team, or you can high five him when he does well, and you don't have to split screen, like you each have your own screen. Space wise, you want about 36 inches per gamer. You could go a little bit larger if you want to be a luxury center. We've squeezed them into as little as 30 inches in our store without it being too uncomfortable. But, we always shoot, basic rule for us is 12 feet of counter space is 4 gamers. So if you want to set up for a lot of the PC games like League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Heroes of the Storm, those are all 5-player matches, then you would shoot for 15 feet of counter per team or per group that you want set up. Now, the other thing that I see, and I've had this question twice this week, is okay, we want to get into esports, and esports is a big reason why there's this big resurgence in LAN centers, is that players want this competition. They want somewhere to go and compete, and we love that. That's the base of what we're founding everything on for eBash and ggCircuit is levels of competition that will provide the foundation for players to enjoy something organized without traveling to New York and trying to compete in a $12 million thing that they're never going to qualify for. What they make the mistake of thinking is that we're going to set this thing up and really focus on this esports aspect. And again, You might be able to do that in a big city. There's a new one that's launching out in Orange County that I think is a really cool concept. It's called Esports Arena. I don't know those guys, never met them. I just watch a lot of the LAN centers and what they do. They have a stage, they have a lot of seating, they have a lot of pits, we call them, where they can do matches for tournaments before they qualify for the stage. But if you're going to go that route, you're going to have to run esports stuff all the time. Most centers are going to want to have enough of a section of their store for a couple, like we call them stages, but they're really just a little raised platform there behind JMAC in Indianapolis is our left and right side of the main stage, we call it, for our tournaments. And you want to have some big screens a couple places, but you don't want to focus that on your primary business if you're a typical LAN center, because it's just going to take up too much of your square footage. It's just going to, you're not going to be able to get as many players in to play as you would players that'll come in and watch. So again, you're doing a big esports event, you're packing it full of players to watch and to spectate, then more big screens and bigger areas might make sense. The other thing, go ahead.
Let me just kind of reiterate here, kind of getting back to the amount of space that somebody needs. Let's say you don't want to pack them in like cattle as much as you possibly can to try to maximize. You want to maximize your space, but you don't want it to just try to pack everybody in. You want a little bit of breathing room. You want to make sure that you've optimized it for esports, like you're saying. But we've also been in centers that we've traveled to that also just have just some random space for groups of people to come in. Like, there is room for that area of just having a couch and a big TV for, groups of 3 or 4 that want to come in and play together on one console.
Yeah, Ignite up in Chicago does a great job of splitting their layout up. And I want to talk about the eBash model of rooms here in a second. But what they've done is they've got pods, and I don't know what they call them. We call them pods. But they have players around circular setups. Battle and Brew does the same thing down in Atlanta, Georgia. We've been in their store. They set it up so that it splits the layout of the room up from just being people lined up like cattle in rows and rows and rows. But it also gives you the ability to kind of split your demographics up around the store. Ignite also has a couple private rooms for the rock band setups and things. You got to consider the fact that different groups in your store might bother or upset or annoy other types of groups. So what we stumbled into at eBash, because our very first store, it was a side business. We had office space set up, and we just put Xboxes and PCs into different rooms. What we figured out really quickly, and my guys will all laugh about this when I talk about it, but we had rooms that were kind of themed after the groups that went into those rooms. So the darkness room was a group of guys that became buddies, but were all very similar in hygiene. So the darkness room always had this just rough funk coming out of the room that, nobody would come into the room and play other than it was almost like how they claim their room, like wolves marking their territory. It's like, those guys just knew that, but they were all that way and they all loved each other and they wallowed in their funk and loved their room, and we were able to keep them away. We were 2 stories. It was the back corner of the upstairs where hardly anybody ever ventured. So parents walking in with their kids didn't see the darkness room up in the back corner of the original eBash. But then you've also got the opposite of that, where the little kids are running around. Some stores take care of it, like Battle and Brew, by saying, hey, we serve alcohol. It's 18 and older only, so you don't have to worry about those. But most of us want to serve the younger group and the older group. So your layout needs to have the ability to spread different groups out to different areas of the store where they won't offend or annoy each other. And I think that's, again, a big thing that a lot of people make a mistake on, is that they find a space that they love. Maybe they love the location. Maybe they have a contact there, so the rent is cheap. And then they try to mold their business to fit that space. And in the end, you cannot take a 1,000 square foot strip mall space that's wide open with a couple bathrooms in the back, just line a bunch of stations up and expect to have long-term success there. It's not going to happen. You're going to get one type or another of customers in there. You're going to if you get the darkness guys as your first core group in a little space like that, then you might as well change your name to, Gamers Haze or something like that, because there's always going to be this level of smell that's oozing out of that store, and anybody walking in the store is going to be blown away by it and either turned on or turned off. Maybe a few guys come in and are like, oh, this is my people. But, I think most of us. I mean, at eBash, we actually have a rule in our rule set that's like we reserve the right to send you home for a shower.
Right. Those
You
are kind of
know,
like the designated Axe body spray bomb
oh yeah,
rims.
the Axe bombs. We I don't know if we invented it, but we love a Febreze bomb. We love an Axe bomb. I mean, we'll run into a room and we'll just pop the top on that sucker, throw it in, and run. I mean, it's. But again, we can kind of bury them in the back of the store, and you know, again, they're different types of customers, they're different types of gamers, they're different type of people in the world. And so, they want to be around their type of people. They want to be around um, similar likenesses to who they are. And,
Games that they all play together, or
right.
people that are playing the same game, that kind of stuff, so they can talk peer to peer about
And
strategies and stuff.
chances are they're probably similar in their ages. Like there's that gamer smell group that is between probably 15 or 16 and 21. When they start realizing that there's girls and they want to smell better, then they start, showering on a regular basis and not just living out of their buddy's couch for
Right.
2 weeks at a time in the same pair of clothes. So,
That's brilliant
um,
marketing, though, for you on the Axe bombs, because it's kind of like, hey, I kind of like that Axe smell. Maybe I should start buying
yeah,
that.
I mean, I remember
You need to get
iGames
a
had a
sponsorship.
Yeah, they actually had a promotion with Axe for a period of time where they sent displays out to centers and allowed us to sell them, and they sponsored a couple tournaments. It's a really good match. I mean, again, the industry is really picking up, and it's really fun to see so many new centers coming involved, so many centers that are adapting and changing and sticking with it. I think we're going to start seeing some of those cool sponsorships and promotions, even if it's through ggCircuit's initiatives where we're in all these LAN centers and we can do some shipments out to all of them and help improve their overall smell.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to get you on a
No, that's
side
fine.
note on a tangent. You were talking about esports and tournaments. If you wanted to bring that back up.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of finish up as far as space requirements, a lot of it is for us, it's fun to sit down at a new space and look at it and be creative. I don't know that this model, even as eBash continues to do additional stores, we're looking at putting a new one in Lafayette, Indiana. We're looking at partnering with a couple different new startups in different areas to brand them as eBashes. I don't think they're all going to be cookie cutter subway models where you go in and it's exactly the same in every store you walk in. I think it's fun to sit down and draw these out like we do for our conventions at Gen Con, PopCon, Planet Comic Con in Kansas City. We look at the space, we lay it out. It's a little bit different each time, but our core systems are the same. Like you want the front counter near the front door so when people walk in, they know where to go, they know where to check in. It helps with theft, it helps with keeping everybody from being disruptive and things. There's certain things that you always want to look at, but whether the front counters to the left or to the right or right in front of you are options that you can kind of work with in the space that you're looking at leasing or renting or renovating if you own it. So again, there's not. Everybody always asks me, how much space do I need, and what's a good layout for my store? There's not a catch-all answer. There's other things that you will put into that factor, like do you want to sell retail? Do you want to do tabletop and board games? Do you want to have an older crowd? Do you want to have a bar? Do you want to serve alcohol? Do you want to do summer camps? There's a lot of other things that you need to decide about your business before you start throwing together this cookie cutter layout. And again, I think that's one of the reasons why I've taken such a passionate stance in starting to help a lot of people get started is that if they don't think about these things in the early stages of their center and think about all these different options and things they want to do, then they're going to get bottlenecked and backed into a corner when they come up with an opportunity where NVIDIA calls them up and says, we want to rent your store, we want to come in and do this event. Oh, well, sorry, we really don't have the ability to do that in our store because we're set up like this.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. I want to make sure all these centers, are ready to accommodate whatever the change in the industry is going to be over the next few years.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too. Is you've got to leave a little room for flexibility and improvisation, because I would say, especially here in Indianapolis, things change all the time, depending on events and that kind of stuff. And I don't want to say it's a mistake to like lock your hardware down or anything like that, but it's just we have to move things around a lot of times, unfortunately, to our frustration sometimes. But we've got a 200 person tournament. we want to get them in the main areas so that everybody can see them, and we want to give them proper match setups and that kind of stuff. It's the nature of the beast sometimes.
Right. And again, the ability to change on the fly, depending on what the opportunities might be, whether it's, the past 2 weeks, we've had all these high schools and colleges coming to us, and we're going to get some collegiate and high school programs going in the Indiana area. We've got to be ready for that. If it's a League of Legends tournament, we're going to have to set up, 200 PCs maybe in our Indianapolis store at one time. So you don't want to have such a layout where you're going to alienate your normal customers in order to run this big event. Have your store set up in different modules and areas so that you can have this massive event running. But all of us, that have been in the business for a long time, we know better than to just run esports events every weekend for big dollar tournaments that take up your entire store, because your regulars and your locals that can come fill your store up during the week will be, alienated, and they'll be off put, and they'll be dislocated from their normal seats and their ability to come in and have fun. I mean, I just saw a center close in Texas, Epic Gaming. Everybody's like, man, they were doing so good. They're running all these big tournaments, these $10,000 tournaments and $5,000 tournaments. And, next thing you know, they announce that they're closing down. They just can't keep the center running because that gap between these big tournaments, all the regular players are not that interested in coming in there because they were just built for esports.
Yeah. So I'm guessing we've already, moved on to kind of like the growth idea of the week. Is that kind of, you wanted to elaborate more on these tournaments? But before you get to that, I just kind of introduce the topic a little bit. I always know when I'm trying to explain our business and what we do, it's kind of like, well, people don't really understand the concept, because it's, why would I go somewhere where I can do what I can do at your store at home is kind of like it. And I want to kind of just do a blanket, like you're saying, why do players come to your center? Well, it's for social interaction and that kind of stuff, but it's really so much more. So our growth idea of the week this week is why do players come to your store?
Right. I think this is a real crucial thing for new centers and centers that have been in business for 2 or 3 years to sit down with their staff and really address this question, like, why are players coming to your center? So that can either, if you're struggling, maybe that'll help you figure out, okay, whatever we're doing now is not the right thing to bring players in. Obviously, they're not coming back. If you're doing well, focus on what's doing well and try to, encourage the players in that area and expand in that area to be able to handle more players. But I'm going to pick on Brent a little bit from Game Haven, because I just had a call with him this week, and I addressed this with him in the call because he's a brand new center. He's getting set up, and he's going down this path of, what they believe players are going to come to their center for. And I don't believe it's this focused on new technology. It's not this focused on the specs of your computers. It's not this focused on the latest and greatest thing that's out there. Those are great things to have a small bit of to bring people in. And the example I gave him is that our very first center, when we set all these things up, we had 2 rooms, one with a giant 12-foot screen and one with a 6-foot screen on projectors. And this is back when the original Xbox and Halo 2 was big. We thought, man, people are going to go nuts for these big screens and come into these rooms. And they were great for bringing people in when we did a tour of the store and showing them the room. We always had somebody playing in there or some sort of demo running. They were blown away by these giant screens that they could play on sitting on a couch in this big room. What happened very quickly is that on busy nights, nobody wanted to go into those bigger rooms necessarily. They wanted to be in the room with 4 players stations next to each other, or 8 player stations next to each other, where everybody could have their own Xbox or PC to play on. And we quickly figured out that it was a great marketing tool. It was a great showpiece as we gave a tour of the center, but it was not necessarily what players were interested in long term. So one of the things Brent said to me was, hey, we're really getting pumped up for virtual reality, Oculus Rift, and we're going to have 12 high-end stations that can really run some cool Oculus Rift stuff. And immediately I said, hey, I'm just going to be honest with you, Brent, and he may be listening. I don't want to pick on him. But I said, this is not, I don't think, a good idea long term, because, again, a birthday party, new people coming in and touring, Oculus Rift and those sort of new technologies are great to have on 1 or 2 stations set up for a demo, to get people interested, to get that cutting edge appeal to guys and gals coming in your store. But long term, on a lock-in night where every week you're hoping that 50, I mean, at eBash, we have 50 to 75 people every week that come to our lock-ins. They're there to play and game all night with their friends. Like you said, social gaming is a big part of it, but they're there for what we've given them as far as that experience of a lot of stations next to each other, split into different rooms where they can kind of have their corner of the building or their room of the building where they all hang out. And it's not coming in every week because they're like, oh, I can't wait to go sit down on the giant screen. I mean, we have a theater in Indianapolis, a theater room
Yeah.
with 6 gorgeous chairs, a big screen, surround sound. I mean, we've always said, like, if I'm a Madden or an NBA 2K player, like that room should be the room I camp out in. And it is only used, to watch Netflix for moms during birthday parties or for viewing parties. And I think it's cool when we give tours and people are blown away by it. But on a regular basis, that does not generate us any specific revenue on a regular basis in the Indianapolis store. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, I shed a tear every time I walk in the store because I'm like, man, that room should really be used a lot more. And it only gets used if we have like viewing parties for huge esports tournaments or what you said. Um, but hey, it gives me a place to go back and watch TV. I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. So the other thing too is that don't focus on the technology, especially when it comes to your PC specs. That's the other mistake I see a lot of people make right off the bat, because chances are if you're in this industry, you're somewhat of a geek or your partner's a geek. Somebody's a geek that loves tweaking and building PCs and building this awesome machine that has blah, blah FPS and so many different frame rates percent. I mean, just they can go overboard tweaking that out. And my example for that is, again, a center we're working with in the Middle East that is getting ready to pay for, and we love Alienware, and their quote from Alienware was, over $500,000 for 65 PCs that are cutting edge PCs to put in his LAN center. And right off the bat, what you're doing is you're putting this bar for your gamers, and you're attracting the type of gamers that is what's important to them. Like, they want to walk in and talk to you about what's your processor, what's your graphics card, how much RAM do these have, do you have solid state drives? If they're asking those questions, we always play dumb. And we know the answers, but a lot of times we're like, and I use my partner Sean as my scapegoat a lot of times. Sean is our brilliant tech guy. He handles everything for us. He's in charge of all of our systems. They run really great. Everybody loves playing on them. I'm not exactly sure what's in them, because guys that are tweaking out about settings and systems and things are not going to be satisfied 3 months from now if you don't go out and buy the latest and greatest thing again.
Right.
And in the LAN center business, that's not an option. I've not yet met a LAN center that has the ability to swap out their PCs every 3 months or every 6 months or even every year. So this LAN center in the Middle East, I said, you're going to spend $500,000 on this. What's your payback? Oh, well, I'm going to pay that back, over 6 years. 6 years from now, those cutting edge PCs are hopefully still running, but probably not still running. They're probably still not applicable for that LAN center. And I guarantee you that nobody is coming in there being blown away by a 6-year-old PC, no matter how fast and awesome you build it today. Same goes for 4K screens, same goes for giant screen monitors and TVs. The reason why people come to your center has to be more than your technologies. They expect it to work. It has to work. I think what I told Brent was, you don't have to have awesome stuff. You don't have to have spectacular stuff. You need to have between good and great stuff in your store, because a player can't walk in and play on an HP desktop from 10 years ago and have a good time. So it needs to be able to run today's games, but it doesn't need to be cutting edge. Don't get into that war. If you post your specs on your website, then chances are, 3 months from now, those specs are old. No one thinks they're cool anymore.
Yeah.
I just see a lot of people make those mistakes. So instead, focus on the events. Focus on what you can do, what you can get going. We try to do theme nights all during the week, Counter-Strike night, Blizzard night, League of Legends night. We try to do lock-ins every weekend. We try to have tournaments going every weekend. We're desperate for groups that'll come in and rent out our center that we can work with to help them run their event. We have Smash Brothers groups that come in every Sunday and pack the store. Those are the things that you need to give people. Why do players come to your center? It's because they can't miss that week's Smash tournament, because they don't want to miss that week's lock-in, because they're trying to get their ggCircuit points up, because they're trying to win the battle this week against their buddy. Give them reasons to come to your center besides the technology. It needs to work. It needs to be good, but it doesn't need to be cutting-edge great.
I guess I kind of liken it to a conversation when someone comes to me and says, I want an Alienware PC or I want a Mac laptop or something like that, because they're either fanboys of it or that they just see it. And I always tell them, why would I pay $3,000 for a Mac laptop when I could get the same specs for 1250 in a PC? I think, don't get me wrong, Alienwares look cool, and but that wow factor can only last so long for repeatable customers.
Right,
They want,
specifically in a land center, exactly right. I mean,
yeah,
it's one of those things, that, and again, Alienware is a great partner of ours, and we love Alienware. And I tell a lot of people this. Here's the other thing we see, and this is totally what you're going to address if you're a land center owner. You've probably seen this a million times. As they come in, a lot of land centers are PC shops, and so they build PC gaming rigs for guys and gals to take home. The biggest thing I always tell everybody is that there is a place for Alienware and Origin PC and those high-end developers, because if you yourself are not a techie and you can't build that, but I've got a buddy that will build this for me, that's the worst thing ever, because chances are that buddy may not be here in a year when you have problems with it.
yeah,
I think Alienware and Origin are built on the fact that, you need to have that contract, that 3-year service agreement that you can go back to them. They have overnight shipping. Their service is next to none. Again, those PC parts can be put together in a case that you get from Newegg, and you can build it for half the price. But then you have this thing sitting on your desk that's yours and your responsibility. That's really cool if you're super into that and that's part of your hobby, is building and tweaking and figuring it out. But I can tell you, like in my own house, my son, my wife, everybody that has, games going or whatever else, I can't stand maintaining all that stuff. It's not fun for me. It's not enjoyable. So at home, I see a lot of need for a lot of these gamers to go with one of those higher end things, because again, it gives you that service, it gives you that reliability. You don't have to rely on George, your buddy, who may not be talking to you next week, to fix your PC. The thing for centers is that we're very fortunate in our partnership with Alienware. We could not afford to put Alienware PCs in our store like we have. Our contracts with Alienware are so great because they provide us systems to use for our conventions, in our stores, for our summer camps. We have a lot of other things going on besides being a LAN center that Alienware and even Origin PCs reached out to us now to partner with us. They want to work with us because we have these other things going on. We could not, as a company, afford to go buy those and put those in our store.
yeah,
So for 9 years of our existence as eBash, we built and maintained our own PCs, and we did that at a level of good, between good and great. And we tried to do it on a rotating, when we first started, it was a rotating 18-month basis. After that, the technology slowed a little bit, and we tried to do it every 2 or 3 years. It's one of those things that if we weren't bringing in a bunch of new Alienwares next month, we would be building new PCs and refreshing our PCs in the Terre Haute store, because our Terre Haute store PCs are about 3 years old. So,
yeah.
that's a huge reason that, again, you could build your own, you can make them just good, but you got to remember, you're only going to get a lifespan of about a year of excitement about that PC before, the players are not going to come in for your PC specs any longer.
Yeah. Okay, with that, we're going to move into the ggCircuit Pulse section of the show, and I'm going to switch over into a browser real quick, so you're going to be off camera. The
Yeah.
first topic that we want to talk about is just kind of a sneak peek of what the skin currently is going to look like. We are very, very close. We are working with Smart Launch, obviously, and so that kind of slows down our progress sometimes, but we kind of took the opportunity as we are testing this to go back in and refresh kind of the content and that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna go real quickly through this and just kind of explain what it looks like currently. Things are always subject to change, but this is what the logged out view will look like. So all the gray stuff in the middle here is basically your logged out view. So here in the middle will be all the stuff from Smart Launch. This is when it's logged out, you're just getting centered data. So this will be, this is for Escape Gaming in Sweden. And so obviously it's branded for Escape Gaming, shows the center leaders, by month, week, day, they can choose the time, and it will refresh the information based on that time period. A center snapshot where a lot of this stuff is in the center profiles on ggCircuit's website: coins earned, coins spent, prizes redeemed. Probably we'll do prizes available as well, just so gamers have an idea that there are prizes that they can redeem. Active players in the center, and then a section for gold memberships. Uh, there will be a section for upcoming tournaments and challenges, whether it's tournaments at the center or tournaments globally through ggCircuit, and any challenges that may be sitting out there. People want to do a smash match against each other. People want to do a 5v5 League of Legends tournament, whatever. We'll kind of do these most likely as a slider, so you can see more than one thing, or it will slide every 20 seconds or something like that. On the right-hand side, it'll show the challenge status if we're in a fall season, or if we're in the next season, whatever's going on that week. It will show what place your center is in, as well as how much they are towards the 100% goal. And then the active players, how many centers, how many players in your center have linked their League of Legends accounts, Smite accounts, so on and so forth. The last 5 recent prizes at the center, and then the last few coins that have been applied to users' accounts in your center. The next thing over is what it was going to look like when someone has logged in. So as you can see, I have a user from the Gamers Funk on my screen right now. It's going to show how
That's
many.
live data, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely
Yeah.
live data.
Yeah.
How many coins that person has, how many coins that person has left to spend for the center's prize vault. Um, it's going to show them where they are locally in their store, and how many coins they have to catch the next person up, or if the person behind them is bearing down on them, how close they are in coin amounts. You don't want to lose your rank. You want to keep going higher. Um, it's going to show kind of the next prize available up versus the coins that they have to spend, and what their status is on being able to get that prize, what percentage they are, how close they are to getting that prize. And this is all pulling from the local prize vault of that center. Eventually, once the gold stuff is released, we will also be showing premium prizes and how close they are to premium prizes there. So I think that's a pretty cool thing for somebody to load up their account and say, oh, well, I'm halfway to getting a free drink for the day, so I'm going to stick around for another couple hours and make sure that I um, can get it before I go home, type of thing. On the right-hand side, again, they're going to see the season status for the center. The account links section here is going to be a little different than the logged out view, because we want players to go click on the game icon and actually be able to link their account here within Smart Launch. So it's going to show whether or not that account is linked just by a simple little check mark, and they'll be able to do that really quickly. Hopefully the doorbell is not on. Of course it is. Sorry, crowd. I'm going to have to turn that off before Creed. Looks like Creed's coming in with his Sam's run. Anyway, continuing on. The match stats section is going to be, right now it's a current month, but again, this is live data for any accounts that they have linked. It's going to show their win-loss record and their kill-to-death ratio. We've talked to some customers about what they'd like to see there. Some have said KDA, some have said win percentage, and it's very much in flux right now. We're still working on it, but we're going to give the players what they want. And then finally, the last section on the right-hand side is the recent activity for that specific player. So they're going to see their last matches, the coins that were applied, as well as hourly coins, and whatever else we come up with. One of the ideas that we have eventually will be to make this kind of like a game. Obviously there's some downtime when you're in the league queues and that kind of thing that you can do, but we want to give coin bonuses to those players to be able to, once they link their Smite account, that they would get a 150 coin bonus or something like that, and just make some cool things for people to accomplish in this skin, as
Yeah,
well as
especially for social media links.
yeah.
We want them to link their Facebook and their Twitter and things, and then give us the ability to post milestone achievements for that center, and then have the center kind of integrate their Facebook account and things. So there's nothing better than for the gamers funk to be able to say, hey, once a day I'm gonna post to my Twitter account automatically, through ggCircuit system, the top 5 players, and tag each of those top 5 players on Twitter, giving them a congrats for being the top 5 players of the day and that sort of thing. So one thing too on this, I want to make sure we touch on, because a lot of people are like, yeah, it looks cool. When can I get it? Like, when is it going to be ready? And so just to give you an idea of where we're at timeline wise, this almost a week now has been running live in the eBash Terre Haute store. Now, that being said, and the reason why we're doing this, and all of you will thank me for this, is that I know that the stats the first day, I'm just going to make these up, but it was the first day we ran it in 150 machine hour times. There was, something like 400 crashes. Now what we've got it down to is that in 800 or 1,000 machine hours, we've only had a couple crashes, in that time period on certain systems. So we're working with, again, 2 different systems. What we've built on the back end that connects to Smart Launch and Smart Launch itself. It's a little bit more of a tedious process, but we're very, very close. And again, players are sitting down at eBash Terre Haute here. Right now, every screen in the lobby, when they are not logged in, the center of it has their login and the center icon. The sides show the center data live. It refreshes every 60 seconds. And then once they log in, they see their data right there on that screen. So it's very, very close. Again, I've been telling people November. I think that's safe enough to say it's going to happen in November. Obviously, I'd like November 1 versus November 30th, but we're that close to getting this done, in the next 30 days. It's a huge piece of what ggCircuit wants to do so that LAN centers don't have to rely on their staff at the counter to market and promote this to every player that walks in. We put this data right in front of the players, and we make them understand that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a question from Challenge Arena in here, in regards to, and I think they're alluding to, where's the Smart Launch stuff in this view? This view is strictly just a web page for us to test the content and the data. Their question specifically is their integration on the Ignite skin from Smart Launch. And Zach, you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to address this myself. This skin, and you can't see my air quotes, but they're air quotes, is a layer on top of the Smart Launch user interface. So if your center is utilizing the Ignite skin, there will be an option in Smart Launch to turn this layer on and off. So it will be overlaid on top of the Ignite skin, if that is what you're using, and it fits it perfectly.
Yeah, specifically, it is the Ignite skin underneath it. Like, we built it to go on top. We love their skin that they built. And so, it just is running like normal. And this fills in, again, it was built, to assume that centers were running at a lower resolution to make sure it fit on everybody's screen. What we've said with ggCircuit is, hey, we're planning on everybody running a minimum screen size. What has it been, J-Mac? Probably something by 1080, right?
1920 by 1080.
Right. So we're assuming everybody's going to run a screen size that size or bigger. And so this fills that empty space on the sides of the Ignite skin. So pre-login and after a customer logs in, all the Ignite stuff sits right in the middle of it, and this fits on the bars on either side.
Yeah.
So it fits right in it. We're going to skin it so that the background images all match up. It'll look like one page for the players. Players won't have any idea that there's 2 layers there. And There's not going to be scroll bars. There's not going to be any noticeable frames that you can tell that those are not all one image, and they'll be able to do all their normal Ignite skin tasks right in the middle of it, like they're used to doing in your store now. Now,
Right.
if you're running the old skin or the original skin or something else, this you'll have to switch to the Ignite skin, because the Ignite skin is what specifically turns on when you turn on the ggCircuit portion. So the difference for that is I know that we've worked with Oleg at Gizmo, and Gizmo is in the process of working on the same exact thing. Like, more than likely what'll happen is that we'll give Oleg the links to those two frames, and he'll be able to pull those frames into the Gizmo skin the same way we're pulling it into the Ignite skin, if that makes sense for anybody that's out there. So I know, like Jonathan at Local Battles on the East Coast, we've even looked at some of the Gizmo stuff and I'm pretty impressed with it. So we may look at going that direction. If Gizmo gets this integrated, I think that a lot of LAN centers would move from the Ignite slash ggCircuit skin over to the Gizmo slash ggCircuit skin in order to get that, that Gizmo feel and a lot of the stuff they do with license management and things that they do so well.
Yeah, there's a couple of Gizmo mentions, so I appreciate you touching on that. Okay,
Yeah.
back on camera.
Uh,
Look
yeah. So
pretty, look
that,
pretty, and sit back up.
yeah. So that basically leads us right to our next thing, which is a super important thing I touched on just a little bit last week, but our next 2 points are kind of the same thing. So we've talked about gold memberships. There's a bronze and a silver level of players. Okay, so right now at ggCircuit, we have over 62,000 active gamers. Almost all of those are bronze players. And what I mean by that is that they have a Smart Launch account. They've never created a ggCircuit account online. And we're automating that entire process for every center now. You'll be able to go in as a center admin and choose an option to auto-create ggCircuit accounts for every one of your Smart Launch players. And basically what we want them to think about this as, you're making an online account powered by ggCircuit. So you're making an eBash online account powered by ggCircuit. It'll send them an email link, a unique link that they can click on to set their password. Once they've done that, they can agree to the terms of service for all of these partners that want to give out free prizes that require like this little legal blurb. And they do that process. They go from bronze to silver. And we're going to put this on every center's dashboard when they log in. So when you log into the ggCircuit thing, you just see a normal little ggCircuit logo right now. A big part of this is going to be, you're going to see how many bronze customers you have, how many silver customers you have, and how many gold customers you have. The important part is getting people from the bronze to the silver, and we're going to automate that completely. So the guys that are running tournament stuff that we're talking about in a minute complain, Devin, I know at PC Gamers is like, I have Thursday night tournaments. The players are on different teams. They're not all going to come in and create these online accounts and link their Smart Launch accounts and link their league accounts and do all these things. We're going to take all of Devin's users. He's going to click the button to say he wants to do this, but he'll be able to take his entire database of Smart Launch customers and auto-create a ggCircuit online account for them. And that will immediately make them available for him to put into brackets, whether they've logged in or not. They could still be a bronze customer, but they can create local brackets. He can just drag them, type their names in. If he knows their Smart Launch names, put them on teams, put them in brackets, launch the brackets, get coins for the brackets, keep track of wins and losses week to week inside of our system. There's so many other things that will happen good there, but we want to clean that up and make it easy and quick for gamers to get into ggCircuit. And the second part of that then is, once Devin does that, he'll be able to then also opt in to auto-create any new customers that come in automatically. So customer walks into PC Gamers, comes up to the front counter, gives them their first name, last name, puts an email address in Smart Launch. They don't need to do anything for ggCircuit. Like, we'll take it from there for him and initiate an email out. Hey, congratulations for making your PC Gamers account. Here's a link to put your online password in, powered by ggCircuit. Oh, by the way, link your League of Legends account. Oh, by the way, link your Steam account. Oh, by the way, link your Xbox Live account. We're going to go right to the players and have the players get that done, so that Devin and all the staff running the counters at all these LAN centers all over don't have to remember all those steps. It automatically takes care of all that stuff for you.
Yeah, and that's a good point too that I didn't point out when I was talking about the skin, is that I had an indicator up at the top left for the gamer that's going to show them what their membership level is. But, and I don't know if you want to go ahead and touch on that or not, but just there's going to be incentives for putting that email address in without paying anything. There's going
Right.
to be coin bonuses. There's going to be some exclusive access to prizes and that kind of thing for when we have contests, and of course other things that we've got in the works. But a user will know what their membership status is when they log in as well.
Right. It's a very big deal to get these users from the bronze to the silver level. The gold level for us is, again, the players pay $5 a month. They can get better prizes. They can get into new tournaments. We're trying to generate a fund there to reward those players that want to become more active at that $5 level. But before that, the silver level is still absolutely free. But we cannot provide NVIDIA, for example. We're working on a big New Year's Eve event this year that we want to coordinate with LAN centers all over the world and have the world's biggest WAN party at LAN centers in a competition sponsored by NVIDIA. NVIDIA, in order to give away free stuff to all these people at no cost to game centers, at no cost to players, their legal team requires us to have the players acknowledge that their stats are gathered and will be shared with NVIDIA. It's not that we're tracking them in anything they do, except that they want to know how many League of Legends games did this player down at Overzone in Brazil, how many League of Legends games did he play on New Year's Eve? In order for us to share that with them legally, we have to have them come in and agree to our terms of service saying our great partners at Razer, at Alienware, at NVIDIA are going to gather this data and use it for them. And that's because of that, we can give you all these cool prizes. So we want centers to really focus on moving people from bronze to silver. And then the gamers can decide if they want to move from silver to gold based on the benefits at that level. So we'll give them a 5% coin bonus to go to silver. We'll give them the ability to link their own accounts once they go to silver. And all that means is that they've received that email, so we know they're a live person. They're not a bot. NVIDIA doesn't want us filling up this thing with a bunch of bots. So we have to prove that a live person got this email, clicked this, agreed to the terms of service, and once they're silver, they're in. That's our goal, is to make sure that once we get them in there at silver level, we can start showering them with sponsor prizes, in all the regions of the world, whether it's South America, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's Australia, whether it's Europe, whether it's North America. I mean, it's the same for these companies all over the world. We've got to get these players to this silver level so that we can prove to them they're not just, bots or random. And again, not picking on other centers in other parts of the world, but a lot of these centers, their users are numbers. It's like the English barrier between their local language and what Smart Launch provides. They just come in and make their accounts numbers. So you've seen this on the top 10 leaderboard, like a user with 15 numbers as his name is the number 2 gamer of the week. Right. And it's a real person that uses that every day to log in another country in the world that doesn't speak English, but they understand numbers and keyboards all have numbers. And so that's what they make their username. It's a really, really cool and awesome time. And again, we want to make this as easy of a transition for players and centers as possible.
Yeah, I'm a fan of seeing the names on the leaderboards, just like the players are. And I may never meet Stephen Ho 808 from PC Gamers, but it gives me some point of reference. Right. I can't remember 11708-205. It's just I just look at that and I shake my head.
Right, exactly. Because again, I think Ryan at Golden Gun touched on this last week is, again, the players love seeing their name in lights. Like the purpose of this is to put this leaderboard. So I don't remember what center that was, but I can only imagine their leaderboard is just this leaderboard full of people that their names are numbers.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sure like that guy in the back corner wants to raise his hand and be like, I'm 90571124, but nobody else in the center probably knows who he is.
I'm waiting for the day when we get like a picture of someone who's won a prize with that
and we
number.
get to put their number on it. Right.
I can put a face with a number. It's
right,
like
exactly.
It's like a prisoner.
Right.
Gosh, what was I going to say? Doesn't matter. All right, so.
All right, let's real quickly.
That's memberships.
We'll real quickly talk on the Pulse system before we go into the tip of the week, which is the tournament system. Once the skin releases, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to schedule a weeknight global tournament for everybody to participate in for different games. And so we've started this at eBash as a test. Every Wednesday, we've had a little Hearthstone bracket. Our Indianapolis store has had between 5 and 10 players every Wednesday night that play in this little Hearthstone bracket. Every time that you go through the bracket, you earn coins for wins that are different than your other coins, and we'll track those as Hearthstone tournament coin wins for those players and create a leaderboard for Hearthstone players. but we want to have different theme nights during the week, and ggCircuit will get some of those rolling at the global level per region. So again, North America, every Wednesday night, we'll have a Hearthstone night, and centers are welcome to jump right into that. Dustin and all of our graphics people will provide marketing materials that you can promote, that you can use in your stores to get your players excited about Wednesday being Hearthstone night. Feedback from centers is welcome as for what games and what nights we want to feature, but we know we want to have, again, we're just going to follow some of the patterns of other successful centers. So Thursday for PC gamers is League of Legends night for Devin. It's also League of Legends night for eBash. It'll be League of Legends night for ggCircuit. We'll have a global tournament. You can run local tournaments. Any coins earned that night in tournaments will go towards the Thursday night League of Legends leaderboards that are just players that are in this organized tournament as teams on Thursday night at LAN centers all over the world. Obviously, in some cases, we can start getting these sponsored by Riot and get Riot prizes for them. We can reach out to Blizzard and maybe hopefully get some Blizzard prizes for them. But the worst case scenario is that we can just give them coin bonuses for wins in these little mini tournaments and give them the fame and fortune of being a top tournament player. Not just show up at the store, grind it out, get as many coins as you can in League of Legends in ranked or unranked play, but join one of these brackets every Thursday night, whether it's randoms locally in PC Gamers, whether it's ggCircuit's European League. It doesn't really matter what it is, but you've got to get into that tournament bracket to get those types of coins and to get ranked on those leaderboards.
Yeah. All right, to the tip of the week for the week.
Okay, so let's move right into our tip of the week. Is that I'm not sure how many centers, if any at all, use the tournament system. Because again, there's some feedback on issues that make it a little difficult. So it's a long process for new users to sign up. You just can't add players into the brackets as the store admin easily. Single players can't be put into brackets. They have to go make teams. And so we're addressing all of those issues with the new rollout of the automatic conversion of Smart Launch customer into ggCircuit customers, so that when Devin clicks the button in PC Gamers, all of his Smart Launch users will have ggCircuit accounts automatically created, whether they log in or not. And then Devin will have the ability to create brackets just like he does on Challenge with whoever he wants, drag and drop, probably type in and search for them and put them on teams, set it up, run the brackets, and then we'll have that record in the system every Thursday night for him. I'm not sure how many centers even have any idea that the tournament system, you could run a tournament at your local center right now, today, this weekend, whenever you want, using our system. It's connected to Challenge. It's published on Challenge. It's completely integrated. We know those guys well. We love them. They're based here in Indiana. If you're using Challenge, it's a couple extra steps right now, but use this thing because your players get coin bonuses, and we're tracking those coins as a different type of coin. So you can earn an hourly coin in your center. You can earn a League of Legends coin in your center. You can earn a Smite coin. You can earn now a tournament coin in your center. And we're going to have leaderboards for the top tournament players in each center. This is where esports becomes a lot more competitive and serious. It's not just I'll pick on Derek Shaver. I don't know if we're going to talk about him here in a little bit. We talked about talking about him. But, the Derek Shavers of the world with 2,000 plus League of Legends games at Bash Brothers Gaming Cave in Colorado, at his LAN center, he's on the grind. He is there to grind out that ladder. Whether or not his kill to death ratio, his win percentage is good or not, that is not into effect. He has to be pretty decent to earn that many coins. But, players can grind it out, and we want that leaderboard there because all of us have average and some poor players in our centers that we want to have a chance to get on those leaderboards. However, the tournament system is a lot more specific. It's head-to-head. It could be ARAM matches. It could be Hearthstone matches. It could be Smash Brothers matches. We're going to add new games into this system that we don't integrate for stats that'll let you run tournaments for those games in your center. And so I want players and centers to become aware of this and start using it now. It's only going to become easier to use. But I can tell you right now, our guys at eBash have been running Hearthstone events for it for 4 weeks straight now. And their players have earned those coin bonuses. It's 50 coins for every win you get in a tournament bracket. And then if you win the overall bracket, it's an additional 50 coins. So those coins that you earn are tracked separately. They're awarded separately. They'll show up separately in the feed. And you then can now feel that accomplishment of being in a little mini tournament on Wednesday night for Hearthstone and know that you're one of the top players at eBash Indianapolis. And soon you'll be able to see how you stack up against Hearthstone players in North America and Hearthstone players in the world.
Yeah, and who's to say in a future season or something like that we might not make a challenge that's just tournament coins?
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the weeks will be, tournament coin in that week. Those are things that we want to quickly put into the leaderboards and all the different things. Right now, we track, centers overall coins, we track players overall coins, and we track points in specific games.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to track those coins and points in different categories besides just those things. So top teams, top tournaments, those sort of things. We'll have challenges soon. We'll have badges soon. We want different coins coming from different areas to, again, tie those players in, engage them in your store, get them. They love it,
Yeah.
Just like the new iGames LAN Center site that's getting ready to launch. People love doing X. I mean, no matter what you do, if you give them rewards and you show them a bar and you show them progress, they can't help themselves. Like they want that satisfaction of getting to that next level.
Yeah. I got a question in the chat real quick, and I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, but it's does the tournament system work for any game that's in challenge at the moment? Because I have a Rocket League event tonight. It's pretty much separate from any game, correct? You can just create a tournament and apply wins.
Right now, when you create a tournament inside of ggCircuit, when you first create that tournament bracket, again, you don't have to do anything in challenge. You do everything inside of your login at the admin level, but you go to tournaments, create new tournament. The game drop down right now just has the 3 supported games and undefined. So the Hearthstone guys have been running theirs as undefined in Indianapolis because the other 3 are League of Legends, Smite, and Dota, because those are the stats integrated games we have currently. We're going to start adding more games in there. So the Rocket League guys are a perfect example. We'll add Rocket League in as an option. We don't have an API connection with them. We don't track their stats in game yet, but there's no reason why you can't run a Rocket League tournament in your store. The players are put into the brackets. You publish the brackets. They go to challenge. You can pull them up on your screen. They look beautiful. Challenge's display of the bracket system is awesome. There's no need for us to redo that. We just use it. You can make your own URL, name it whatever your LAN center name is, Rocket League. You can name it the eBash Rocket League Wednesday night tournament or whatever. And now when you do that inside of ggCircuit, we're recording all those matches and we're recording those wins and coins for those players. So as soon as we add Rocket League as an official game, they'll start earning Rocket League tournament coins. And they'll be able to then rank themselves in your center for Rocket League or against other players all over the U.S. or all over the world or all over your region of the country.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to touch on in regards to tournaments or anything like that?
No, again, I've just started putting the hammer down on the eBash guys to use it. They fought it for a while. It's not easy to use right now. We're working on making it easier to use, but there's no reason, especially for smaller events, to take the time and start using it because it's only going to get easier. And if players log in now, create a ggCircuit account, link their Smart Launch account, link their in-game account, this is just going to automate that down the road. They'll be done. They'll be ready to go. Nothing's going to change for them. They can go make a team, call it whatever they want, have their buddy join it, be a 2v2 team for Rocket League, be a 4v4 team for Rocket League. They can use it now. And so I'd like to see centers start using it now. It's not going to change. They're not going to be wasting their time. It's only going to get easier in the future.
All right. So let's do some new centers and the fall season week 4 winners, and then we'll get out of here. We're almost at noon.
Yep.
This week, we welcome into the fold Rails Billiards from Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. A new center there, as well as Fastnet out of Peru. And
I think we've got, I looked last night again, we have over 20 that are in the setup stage right now.
We have
big.
20 centers in the setup stage, and usually I only announce these new centers if they have earned coins. So, there's 20 centers, and we're getting to them as fast as we can. And the process, obviously, for those that have been with us from the very beginning, the process has gotten incredibly much easier.
Oh, yes.
Where they can be up and running in about 5 to 10 minutes. But sometimes, they have questions before they start, and LAN center owners are busy, and we're busy, and we respond pretty quickly. But sometimes there's a few days downtime and that kind of stuff.
And some of them, JMac, too, are brand new centers.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
these
Some
are
haven't
these are
even
people
opened yet.
that are signing up. You know, I know XP Gaming is just in the middle of their setup and startup. I have a call this afternoon with a new center up in Canada that's been working for 2 months getting set up. So a lot of these are just signups that we've had over the past couple months that are
Right.
just getting their smart launch set up in their brand new center and then connecting ggCircuit in. So it's going to be a real busy. Our goal, JMac, you know, do you remember what our goal was for this year? You and I, right?
Was it 100?
Yeah, so we were shooting for 100 centers online before the end of this year. We've got basically 2.5 months left. You know, we're going to be close. I know we're near 90 in the system now. You know, of those 90, about 65 or so are active, you know, set up and active and generating coins and open. So, you know, it's going to be real close. You know, I
Yeah.
think you owe me something, a dinner or something. I don't remember what. It was,
I thought, was that our tattoo bet or was that something else?
no, no, that was not our tattoo bet. Our tattoo bet was, yeah, no, that wasn't it.
I think I won. I think I won that one anyway.
I'm not allowing you advertising space on my body for your choice of tattoo for that.
Uh, all right. So week 4 was a couple weeks ago for the fall season, and these are the prize winners for week 4. We got Jormy from the Gamers Funk. Uh, 562 entries in the week 4 prize pool that was over 273,000 coins. So whenever we get a random winner like this, it's just another incentive for anyone that plays has a chance to win uh, a prize. So Jormy wins a Chroma keyboard. And then Luke Can from Guff Werribee, 415 entries into the week 4 prizes, and he wins a Kraken headset, and those will all be sent out very soon. I'm not even going to address that question that just came from your employee because he knows
Classic.
that I'm going to slap him around.
I'll take
Uh,
care of it.
all right. Well, that's it for
One
this
thing I
week.
wanted to just real quick on those prize, just to finalize the prize thing. One thing we're looking at for the seasons as we work on planning for the winter season is the ability to expand the season to regular players in the store over a longer period of time for player prizes that are actually prizes that are not random. So right now our season prizes are all random. They're all participation except for the trophy that the center wins. The players don't have not a skill trophy, but a trophy that they can achieve by doing something. We want to get that into the winter season and expand the season a little bit to maybe 8 or 12 weeks. So over 8 or 12 week period, the seasons now will start where players are trying to get to the top of the ladder for that season to win a prize. So if we have 2 Razer Chroma keyboards, one of them may be a random winner for that week, and one of them may be the top scoring player for that week. So there'll be what we'll call a skill prize and one that we'll call a random participation prize. We want to add that level in for the next season, and that's what I'm working on as far as sponsors providing us prizes for the winter season. And again, apologies to all of you down under and all of our friends in South America. The winter season is where we're at. You know, we've tried to come up with different names for them, but you know, maybe we can have the winter season logo have a sunshine on it to offset both sun and snow both. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Real quick before we get off, this is the last week for the fall season. The goal will be damaged. The sliders will be updated later today. Right now, I did the numbers for the rankings of the season. Overzone is in the lead with 232, and it's on the side here. You can't see it, but Overzone is in the lead with 232 points, and they have
Clinched it? I mean,
they have a commanding lead. It like they're not that I want to wish ill on anyone, but they'll have to have a pretty weak
So should we
last.
pause? We should pause their coin system right now, right?
Yeah, there you go. We have complete control. Golden Gun is in second with 218, and Ebash Indianapolis with 217. Actually,
That's pretty close.
Ebash and PC Gamers have 217 coins, so it's a pretty close race for second and third. But it looks like Overzone may win the fall season. We'll see what happens the rest of the week.
Yep, sounds good. And I know why they're winning because Overzone just relaunched, did a big push for coins. They're giving away tons of prizes in their store. Their participation has like doubled since before the season. I mean, that's they're a perfect example of why we built ggCircuit and the right way to use it.
Yeah. All right. Until next week, buddy. See ya.
All right, peace out. Thanks, J-Mac.